Thank you very much. James Davis and Tracy Crouch will just come in, then Stephen Metcalfe.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to raise the issue of light pollution and its impact on amateur astronomy. So light pollution both from space and from Earth. Firstly, Dr. Arditti, could you describe the nature and extent of light pollution that comes from space, including from satellites? And
we need to be quite tight on time, so if that's a big question, if you could give a summary answer to it, that would be...
Big question, and these are two quite different subjects, because ground-based light pollution, government and local authorities have the power to deal with that, whereas satellites is going to require international agreement, and it's an increasing problem, because the sky is going to be filled with small satellites which are put up for communication purposes. There's already the Starlink system. There's several thousand satellites have been put up recently, but projections are that with all the launches scheduled by China and India and Russia and Europe, there could be hundreds of thousands of satellites visible to the naked eye. These would completely change the aspect of the sky, so that the traditional sky as we know it, the constellations, would be almost obliterated by a constantly moving panoply, a tapestry of local lights moving backwards and forwards. So we really need urgent international action to try, and we're not going to stop this because there are powerful commercial drivers behind it, but moderate it. And I know certainly the professional astronomers through the International Astronomical Union are working hard to get this discussed at the level of United Nations committees and so forth. So, but going back to the more local level, in Britain, I think one thing I'd like this committee to emphasise when it reports is there are lots of problems with the control of light pollution in this country at the moment. It was brought under the Environment and Clean Neighbourhoods Act some years ago, that local authorities have some powers to regulate and take it into account under planning. Yes. However, there are very large gaps in that legislation. For example, all sports facilities are completely exempt. They can do whatever they like. Anything to do with transport is completely exempt. Anything to do with defence is completely exempt. So there are very large holes. So you can have as much lighting on a golf course as you want, or a sports stadium. Now, we're not asking for all the lights to be turned off, and let's be very clear about that. We're asking for sensible lighting at the times that it's needed and the places that it's needed, and to make it efficient and to eliminate the leakage into space as far as possible. And Britain has a relatively poor record on this.
We need to be a bit more concise, otherwise we're not going to get through the questions that we have. So, James?
Well, I'll move to Professor Lintott for his perspective on this, if that's okay. I mean, I know in my area, Clywyddian Range and Dee Valley, there is a Dark Skies initiative. How successful are those being? We've also, in terms of satellite pollution, heard about the need for international agreements. Are there any other countries that are doing things differently to us to help achieve that?
I think the satellite issue is very difficult. There are international diplomacy underway at the UN, led via the International Astronomical Union, and I'd encourage everyone to investigate and look into those issues. This has to be solved internationally. I think your point about the dark sky parks is interesting. Lots of parts of the country, from Dumfries and Galloway down to Exmoor and the Channel Islands and many places in between, have found that dark skies is a way of promoting tourism and interest in an area. Those are community-supported efforts, and they've been very effective. Of course, the moment you introduce large numbers of low-Earth satellites, then you lose the joy of a dark sky. And I think we should remember that for most people in the country, their nearest wilderness is space. It's just above their head, and we have a right, I think, to enjoy a reasonably unfettered view of the night sky, which is transformative for many people. And we are at risk of losing that view forever in the next 10 years if there isn't urgent action.
Right, so a very big challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll finish with James Davis.
Yes, I think we have 1 or 2 minutes only in this panel. So, Professor Lintott, in terms of citizen science, what opportunities does it offer for people to move from the amateur stage up to something more significant?
Yes, we're seeing an increasing number of applicants, particularly for example, for our PhD programs, have citizen science experience, albeit often alongside a university degree, particularly several excellent applicants who've done, for example, open university degrees later in life. I think it provides opportunity for skill development that I've talked about. Yes. And we're also working hard to find opportunities for citizen scientists to publish their work as well, either in the main astronomical journals or in specialist publications, so that they have a track record. So I think it is an opportunity for people to get a sense of research and to use that perhaps as a career step. I wouldn't want to suggest that that most of our participants are interested in changing career. Most of them are interested in making a contribution with the time that they have available. But for those who want to do more, it's clearly a useful step towards getting a sense of what being a professional astronomer or a professional scientist is like.
Yeah, so finally, do you think academic institutions other than your own could be doing more to assist that transition where it's valuable?
Yeah, I think there's clearly a need for something halfway between I am somebody who's a serious amateur astronomer or somebody with a serious interest and somebody who's embarked on a full-time career. And I think you see that in demand for the kind of distance learning courses that many institutions provide in astronomy in particular. And so I think there is this untapped demand and need that I think perhaps universities could be better at responding to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, James. Thank you.